What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Jay. Today I'm gonna teach you how to get good at division, put out more damage. Let's get it going. So with PvE, enemy armor damage is very important. Same thing with damage to elites, but on every gun you got a trait for your gun. So with assault rifles you got enemy armor damage. This is why assault rifles is one of the best guns to use for PvE, unless you're going for straight headshots. Then snipers will be good. But as you can see, every single assault rifle has enemy armor damage. Very, very, very important. Then we have snipers. So this sniper in particularly is a sniper that you can spam. There's two different snipers. There's custom info 4, which is at the bottom, and then you got a sniper that has a high RPM. Those snipers you can spam where you're going for body shots. As you can see, the trait for snipers are headshot damage. With this one, you wouldn't necessarily spam for headshots. You would go for the body shots. So it'll be important for you to have a lot of enemy armor damage and damage to elites to make sure you can hit the body as hard as possible, since you're not going to really be aiming for headshots because it's going to be hard to really hit the head. Then we got SMGs. SMGs, you mainly see people run it in PvP, not so much PvE, but you can definitely run it in PvE. You'll just have to run ferocious and destructive with these to ensure that you can shred the armor. Maybe even half a clip. It just really depends on your type of build that you're running. SMGs are definitely one of the best guns in the game, especially if you got the house. House is dope. Then we got light machine guns, which are also really good. If you run like a Lone Star build, or if you run something geared towards them, they hit really hard. We have the damage out of cover, which speaks for itself. Any enemy that's out of cover, you do increased damage. This does a lot. On top of, if you have enemy armor damage and damage to elites, it does even more. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, for PvE, you would just make sure you want to have enemy armor damage and damage to elites. Period. That's going to be like your bread and butter. So these two talents are going to be the most important talents that you should get if you're running a DPS build for PvE. Destructive, ferocious. These work for both your skills and like your gun damage. So just keep that in. Also keep that in mind. Like you can run a skill power build and run destructive and ferocious, and it'll help you shred NPCs. Trust me, I know. So we have all the talents here that you can get on a sniper. Some of these talents that you can run on a assault rifle will be like, they won't be on here because this is a sniper. So responsive is not going to be on here. I know for a fact that's one of the ones, but responsive is pretty good. But anyway, we got destructive, good for PvE. We got harmful, it's trash, deadly. I'll use that for PvE. Just make sure you got destructive and ferocious first. Fierce, same thing as deadly. Train is trash. Unforgiven is good for PvP, not necessarily PvE unless you're tanking. Prepared, really good if you're at a distance. Just make sure you got destructive or ferocious first. You got swift and intense. Both those talents are trash. You got vicious, mainly good for PvP. Toxic, that's trash. Brutal, they nerf headshots, so brutal is not nearly as good as it used to be, so it makes it trash. Skilled is really good though, and part of the reason why it's so good is because you can get your super back faster. I think it also reduces the cooldowns for your skills too. I'm not really too sure about that, but that's based off headshot kills. Then we got disciplined. Discipline is pretty good. You just gotta make sure you get the kill. If you got high critical hit damage, that's even better, because once you kill a target and you kill another one on the next shot, it'll be 100% chance to crit. Then you got talented, which is a skill power build type thing. You won't really use it for anything else. You got meticulous. It's a cool talent. Like you can use it for PvE or PvP. It just depends on like what you're really trying to run. Like, I don't know, it depends on what you're really trying to do with your build. You could possibly make it work. because it automatically loads the ammo in your clip. Once you like kill an enemy, it's like a chance. It's not guaranteed. It's like a chance. You got determined, really good for PvP and PvE. I would mainly run it with a skill power build. You can run it for any build you want though. Since just make sure whatever build you run it with, you got killing potential, that you can kill a lot of NPCs. That's how you get the most out of it. You got predatory. Predatory is really good for PvE and PvP. You just gotta make sure you have enough health, because the amount of health that you get back when you kill an NPC is like percentage based. So if you have low health, you're not necessarily going to get back a lot of health. If you have a lot of health, you're going to get back a lot of health. That makes sense. Sustained, it's alright. I wouldn't necessarily get that though. It's too many other talents to run. You got proficient, trash. You got balanced. Balance used to be really good back in the day, but now that after they nerfed it, it's been trash ever since. No one uses balance, I'm pretty sure. You got dominant, it's trash. You got commanding, which is also trash. Then you got adept. So with adept, it used to be really good because it used to part from both of your skills. Doesn't do that anymore though. But if you're running a pulse or if you're running a heal, you'll get extra critical hit chance just from running that. So that makes it still viable. Capable is trash. It's based on popping the skill. You get increased stability. It's trash anyway. Competent, really good. Popping the skill. Wouldn't necessarily run it though for PvE. Accurate, garbage. Like as long as you're just like popping skills fast, that's how you can get the most out of adept and competent. So if you're running a skill power build with high skill haste, that'll be good for that. Or if you have a build where you're running determined and you're getting your skills back quick, that would also be good for that. You could probably end up getting away with running a pulse, because pulse usually comes back pretty quick. So every time you pulse, that counts as popping a skill. So you get adept and you get the competent on top of that. So you can see how that would give you a ton of damage all at one time, because I think adept gives you like 7.5% every time you pop a skill, and I'm pretty sure it lasts for probably like 15 seconds. And then competent, you get 10% extra weapon damage added on to whatever weapon damage you already have. So I can see that mainly being used for PvP. Still would be good for PvE. Just make sure you got ferocious and destructive. So back onto the gear, we have the mask. As you can see, I got enemy armor damage rolled on here. Like I said, enemy armor damage, damage to elites, always want to have enemy armor damage or damage to elites on the DPS build. If you're running a healer build, you could run something different, but if you're running DPS, pure DPS, enemy armor damage, damage to elites. So as you can see, I got damage to elites in the bottom. I also have it on my gear mod, and I have enemy armor damage. If I was running PvP, I would definitely run crit hit chance, just because how hard crit hit chance is to come by. But since it's PvE, I'm not worried about it. Health on kill is kind of one of the things that in order for it to be good, you have to stack it. So let's say you had predatory and you had like 15% health on kill, so you'll be getting 15% of your health back per kill. And let's say you have predatory on top of that, then you'll be talking getting that percentage from predatory over time, plus the instant 15% health based off each kill. So that could be really good for really a striker build, because striker shreds. So that'd be really good for that if you decided to run that, especially if your skill haste is low and you don't have a lot of skill power. That'd be a really good thing to run. You got exotic damage resilience, which is still pretty good. I would mainly run that for PvP. That kind of lowers the bleed effect for Predator's Mark. Then you got all resistance, trash. Don't roll that on any of your gear. You'll be wasting a whole slot. Just don't run it. You got skill power. Skill power is alright. It's not bad. If you're running a skill based thing, I would run skill power. So down here we got damage to elites, increased kill XP, burn resistance, blind death resistance, and disoriented resistance. So always run damage to elites, never run increased kill XP. If you're going for PvP, you would definitely run one of the resistances. In my case, I think I would run burn resistance for PvP. That's because you got people running around with all these flame turns and stuff like that. The blind and deaf doesn't really affect me that much. So, but that's just me though. Like on other pieces though, you'll be able to roll like disrupt resistance, which will probably come in handy, especially if you use your skills. But in terms of the mask, for PvE, always have enemy armor damage, damage to elites, and if you can, get the purple mod that also gives you more damage to elites. I'm telling you, you guys see me solo resistance by myself. It's not hard. You just gotta have the right build and the right spec to get the job done as fast as possible, because otherwise, if you can't shred the NPCs fast enough, they're gonna shred you, especially in resistance or any other game mode, because they made the NPCs a lot smarter. They're still pretty dumb in their own right, but they have smart spurts where they may try to corner you or something like that. But yeah, PvP, you go for the resistances. PvE, you go for enemy armor damage, damage to elites. Don't worry about the kill XP. It's definitely not worth to take it on here. You could take it on other pieces, but you definitely would not take it on the mask. It's not worth it. Then you have the chest plate. So the chest plate kind of depends on your build. If you wanted to run health, you could, but I would run something like that on PvP, not necessarily PvE. All resistance, never run that. Skill haste, if you're stacking skill haste, it'll be good to run skill haste. Other than that, I wouldn't want it. A health on kill, that's totally up to you. Exotic damage resilience, totally up to you. See, it doesn't have enemy armor damage or damage to elites on here because I already rolled enemy armor damage, so you have an open slot to roll whatever you want. I rolled health just to make me a little bit more tankier, because I'm not specking for skill haste, so it'll be pointless to roll skill haste, and I'm not specking for health on kill, so it'll be pointless to roll health on kill. Same thing goes for exotic damage resilience. If you're not specking for it, if you're not trying to stack it, there's no point of really running it, because you're not really mitigating that much damage. Then we got the backpack. So this is not actually the backpack I'm using. I'm actually using the Deadeye backpack, but this way I can show you guys the different recalibrations that you can do on the backpack if you wanted to. So you got the skill power, you got health, critical hit damage, stability. So on my Deadeye backpack, I have stability roll instead of critical hit damage. And the reason why I'm doing that is because the more shots that I can get off, that means the more damage I can do. So the stability is better to run than the critical hit damage, because it makes sense. The more shots you land, the more damage you do. If you have more critical hit damage, you don't land all those shots, you're not doing as much damage. I don't really need the health, not really worried about it. Skill power, don't really need that. I'm not running the skill power build. On this backpack, I am running a skill power build. As you can see, I got the electronics rolled and stuff like that, so I'll just kind of boost my skill power as much as possible. So that's how I work for skill power. Other than that, it just really depends on the build that you're running, and that's gonna show you like what you should spec for that. Then we got the gloves. So one thing with the gloves, if you're using your gun, and this goes for PvE and PvP, one thing you should always have rolled is your weapon damage. So whether that may be assault rifle damage, LMG damage, SMG damage, pistol damage, or shotgun damage, you want to always have one of those rolled, period. Then you got health on kill, critical hit chance, skill haste, critical hit damage. Since I'm running Deadeye, I want to have critical hit damage. Critical hit chance I don't need, because I have 100% critical hit chance automatically when I'm scoped in, so I don't spec anything for critical hit chance. you see I got marksman rifle damage. That goes with the percent damage that you're gonna have for your weapon. Always have that. Then I have enemy armor damage, stacking it. If you're running PvE, doesn't matter what type of build you're running, that's DPS. That's like DPS wise. Always have enemy armor damage. So here, if you weren't running Deadeye, I would have enemy armor damage, marksman rifle damage, and I would actually probably have critical hit chance instead of critical hit damage. Because if I get critical hit chance, the better chance that I have to hit a crit, the more damage I can do. If I have a lower chance of hitting crits, it doesn't matter how high my critical hit damage is, because I'm not hitting crits as often, if that makes sense. Skill haste, don't worry about it unless you're stacking for skill haste, because it's not really going to make a difference if you have a 9% skill haste on your build. It's not going to really knock off that much time from your skills. See what I'm saying? But anyway, now we got the holster. So the holster is kind of like a free thing, to be honest. I'm running reload speed personally. Goes back to the same thing with stability. The more shots I can get off, the more damage I can do. So I want to be able to reload as fast as possible. I could have rolled health, but I don't really need the extra health. We got skill haste. I'm not stacking skill haste, so that's why I'm not running skill haste. Got critical hit chance. I'm running Deadeye, so I don't need critical hit chance. If I wasn't running Deadeye, then I would run critical hit chance, because honestly, critical hit chance is really hard to come by. So anywhere you can roll critical hit chance, you might want to do that for PvP. But for PvE, that's just enemy armor damage, damage to elites, main things you need, and really whatever you can do to put out as much damage as possible to get through whatever situation you're doing. You don't really need health for PvE unless you're tanking, or you plan on face tanking, or I don't know. It just really depends. Like, I don't really face tank like that unless I'm running D3, so I don't need health. Then we got the braces, so the knee pads. And on here you can see we have critical hit damage, health, enemy armor damage, skill power, exotic damage, resilience, and we have trash, aka all resistance. You know, I don't even know why this is even in the game. Like, I don't know, it's just pointless to me. But we got critical hit damage. I'm running Deadeye, so I'm spec for critical hit damage. It's enemy armor damage on here, but it doesn't give me that much enemy armor damage, which is why I didn't choose it. But really, if you're running Deadeye, you can choose between the two. It's really up to you. It doesn't really matter if I lose out on 4% of enemy armor damage. Health, don't really need it because I have enemy armor damage or critical hit damage on here, so I chose a critical hit damage instead. Skill power, only really useful if you're running like a skill power build or whatever. Then below you got 3 minor attributes. So always have damage to elites. That's a gimme. And then you can add like resistances or whatever. So you can add like run resistance, and then you can have increased kill XP. So this is the other gear that you can have increased kill XP on. So because it gives you about like 50%. The more XP you get from killing, the more field proficiency caches you can open, the better chance you have of getting exotics or classifiers out of those caches, because you can't actually get those out of those caches. For PvP, it won't look nothing like this. So you will not have damage to elites, you wouldn't have increased kill XP, because that's not good for PvP. You would just pretty much have all resistances. So you have burn, bleed, shock, whatever floats your boat. Those are the type of resistances you will have. But like I said, as you can see, I got critical hit damage rolled on here because I don't need anything else. I got damage to elites rolled. Always have that rolled. I'm pretty sure on this build I have at least about 50% damage to elites, including the mods, the purple mods that I have on, and that's why I have the purple mods. The minor attributes don't really matter as long as you mainly have damage to elites. The increased kill XP is just icing on the cake. But if you made it this far to the video, thank you for watching. I really appreciate all y'all for sticking around and watching my videos. We're at 150 subscribers. But anyway, it's your boy Jay. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully you was able to learn something from this guide. I'm out. See you in the next video.